Welcome back, guys. This is the Cornwall Property Podcast. This is episode 80. My name is James.
I'm Dan.
This is the wonderful podcast where we get to ask questions from our listeners and viewers to Dan and James. So without further ado, we have our first question.
And stick around with us as well, because we've got our next Wow of the Week at the end of these questions. So once we've answered these two questions, It's currently 2-2. Spinks here, our producer, is going to be dropping another bombshell on us with a beautiful property here in Cornwall that we have got to guess the valuation of. See who can get the closest.
And apparently quite a difficult one, so we shall see. So our first question of the week, we have Joanne in Perranporth who asks the following. I'm currently in a day job and would like to get out and begin investing in property to help replace my income. Well done, good plan. I don't have a lot of capital, but from my research, there are a number of entry-level options or strategies to get started in property. Can you share what options or strategies you know of that I could possibly look to help me get started, please? Excellent question.
Yeah, definitely, Joanne. And I can vouch this. James and I were exactly the same boat as you, Joanne. We were both in the day jobs. We were both sick and tired of the day job. We were very well and motivated to get ourselves out, similar to yourself by the sounds of it. And we wanted to carve our path, really. Absolutely. So I think ultimately, first of all, Joanne, in order to get an idea of where or what way to go, I think clearly you need to find out how much you need to get out the day job. So the first thing I did was worked out as a family, as our household, what was I bringing in currently, but what's the bare minimum I need to bring in to get me out of that day job? Because the sooner I can get out of that day job, the quicker and the faster I can get further forward. So work out what your outgoings are, find out exactly where you are in terms of monetary value you need to be bringing in to keep your life to a level you need it to be. That will then help steer you into the decision, the route you've got to go. For me, I needed quite a substantial figure. For me, it was around like £5,000 a month I wanted to be bringing in for a family. Well, I knew that in order for me to get a number of buy-to-lets, which on average, you're probably cash flowing a profit of 300, 400 quid if you're very lucky these days on a standard buy-to-let. I'd need quite a few buy-to-lets, quite a few deposits. It isn't going to happen. And as you quite rightly said, you're in a very similar situation to myself, Joanne, in that I didn't have a lot of capital when I started. So the low entry-level property strategies that I found and researched myself, I'm sure there are many others, but these are the two that I kind of looked into, are sourcing. So property sourcing is where you will find deals and you sell deals to potential investors that haven't got the time to go searching. So, for example, I would do all the networking with the agents. I would go and maybe do direct to vendor letters. And I've been trying to drum up interest and find myself some deals, but I know I can't move on these deals. If I get good enough deals, I could sell them to people that can move on them. So, for example, if James is an investor, he's got some cash in the pot, but James hasn't got time to go searching or do the networking and the hustling side of it. I would go, James, look, I've got a cracking deal here. These are the figures. This is where we're at. If you want this deal, I can sell you this deal for 1% of the end value. So it might be a couple of grand, $3,000, whatever. James will then look at it. And if he wants to proceed, he would then pay for the finder's fee, we call it. And then that's me, how I can slowly start building that pot. But what I'm also doing at that time is educating myself, building the network, and getting those contacts early doors. So that's one way. What I found, because I did try that myself, it was very labor intensive. It was very time conscious and consuming. I didn't have time. I was traveling around the country with my day job at the time, so I didn't have a lot of time to go network with agents and get these cracking deals. So I was doing direct to vendor marketing. So I had to go down the other route, which was called rent to rent. So rent to rent is some people that don't really understand it see it as subletting, but it's actually the council have been doing it for years. It is a commercial lease that you kind of get drawn up for a property. So, for example, if James is a landlord, James may be struggling to let his property, or he may just be getting really frustrated with tenants, or his agents aren't pulling their weight. If he's motivated, I say, look, James, what I can do is I will take over your property for you for the next 3-5 years. I'll give you a guaranteed rent of X amount a month. So you haven't got all the stresses. Whatever happens, you will be guaranteed to get this money each and every month without any stress or hassle. What I'll do is I'll take over the management of the property. I'll take over the low-level maintenance in terms of I'll cap it to like £100. So anything like little maintenance issues, like lock issues or things like that, I'll take care of that each up to £100 a month. And that saves you need to worry. So James would be like, okay, well, this sounds good. All right, brilliant. Well, what happens then? So I would then simply take over the property. I would be the managing agent of that property, but essentially we'll have a contract drawn up where it is in that contract, we've got a proper management agreement, and I will be the person in sole control of that property. I pay James his rent, but what I will do is I'm trying to increase the value. So I've got a couple of these properties that I've done in the past. I increase the value of them. So in terms of refurbishment, I'll do a refurb on the property, which means I could then charge higher rent. I would then let the property out to professional tenants, for example, They would pay me X amount. I then pay all the bills. I pay then James, the landlord, what I promised him each month, and anything left over each and every month is then my profit. So you need to work out how many of these you would need to get to that magic figure I mentioned to you at the start. So I obviously knew I needed £5,000 a month. Well, how many of these properties did I need to get on a rent-to-rent basis to get me to that figure? I will be able to get there far quicker and easier doing this strategy because I haven't got to put as much capital in to get there. Obviously, the only thing to bear in mind is it's only like you sign up for 3, 4, 5 years. So it is like a ticking time bomb as I see it. If you renew, brilliant, but the landlords could take their property back and then you're back to square one. So it is a stepping stone to get you out of the day job, and then you want to be trying to get your own assets as soon as possible, really. But hopefully that helps. I appreciate I've gone into a lot of detail there. I'm sure you've got loads of questions off the back of it, but please do get in touch again, Joanne. But hopefully that gives you a few bullet points in what sort of things you could look into and look up. But unless there's anything else you want to chuck in there, James?
No, I think you've covered them all, but I think rent to rent is just such a good low entry to go in because you don't need that capital. But, you may have people in your family or friends that would actually lend you money. But if you did that strategy, it just shows them what you're doing and they would get that confidence to lend you some money. So once you've got maybe 2 or 3 rent to rents are going really well, you've proven yourself, track record, then you're in a good, strong position to say, can I borrow some money, please?
Yeah. And don't be fooled. Like people say, oh yeah, it's no money down. It's no money. You are going to have to put your own money in. One, you're going to have to get your contracts drawn up. Well, that's going to be a legal cost. And also when you're refurbishing and upgrading these properties and potentially furnishing them to a standard that's going to allow you to increase the rents to make a bit of money, then that's, again, capital you're going to put in there. But you're not going to have to be putting £60,000, £70,000 like you would on a house deposit. You'd only be putting in maybe £3,000, £4,000, depending on the size and the quality of it already. But hopefully that helps, Joanne. Conscious of time, so I don't want to go into too much more, but feel free to throw any further questions at us, anyone, if you do have them.
Absolutely.
I will lead on then for your question, James, which is going to be from Sean in Bude. And Sean was asking, I'm looking to buy a house at the end of 2023, and I have unfortunately had to use my credit card a fair bit with a few things that have gone wrong so far in this year. Oh, that's a bugger. Such as like car engine replacement. So yeah, vehicle issues. When applying for a mortgage, will it really affect my application if I have more than one credit card? Good question.
Good question. And thank you for that, Sean. Sorry to hear about the car. I think Dan and I can feel the pain with that, with both of ours having some issues at the moment, never ending. But straight to the heart of your question, it will affect your ability to get a mortgage if you do have credit on your credit card, because they will look at how much does Sean earn, and they will also look at your bank statements to see what your outgoings are. Now, if you've got a credit card that has a £5,000 limit on it and you're using £500 to £1,000 on it, where it's only roughly 20% of the usage, they're not too bothered about it. But if you do have credit cards, more than one, and they are all in the sort of 80%, you're really stretching them, then they can see that obviously you are, you're struggling a bit. And what is their game? They're lending. What do they want to know? They're going to get their money back, and you can service the mortgages. So a good thing to do, and I've mentioned it in a previous very recent podcast episode with regards to downloading your credit file. Have a look, see what one is looking good, what one is looking bad. Because sometimes people just have credit cards and they don't even get statements, and they don't actually even know how much is on them. That's happened to me in my early days of property. But I think know exactly what credit card you've got and how much is on it, and maybe try and bring all the balance down to one credit card, or do like a balance transfer. But basically, if you've got lots of credit cards and they're in the limit, lenders aren't going to like you. So try and get that sorted out before you apply for that mortgage.
Definitely. No,
so that's the best I would say.
Well, excellent stuff. Good luck with that, Sean. Any other questions, do get in touch again. But finally, it's what you are also going to be waiting for, the Wow of the Week time. Currently 2-2. Spinks, what have you got for us, mate?
It's Wow of the Week time. This is a good one. This is like my ideal property, this. So if any listeners or viewers are feeling generous, please get in touch via the usual
usual methods.
I'm going to give you a little bit of extra info on this because this is a tricky one. So before you open it, just to let you know, obviously it's in Helston, in an area called Trevano. I don't know if I've pronounced that correct. Trevano? Ring any bells?
No.
I was going to smile and nod at you. I'm not too sure. I'm not familiar with that.
No, I'm not. I live in Helston. I've not heard of it, but let's just go with it.
Okay, so it's a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom property. Ooh, it does have 4.6 acres with it.
Ooh, wow, okay.
And it was also on Grand Designs in 2016.
Oh, 4.6 acres.
It's an interesting property. So I am going to put 60 seconds on the clock.
Okay.
And you may open the link.
Opening now. Wow of the Week in Helston. So we've got 6-bed, 3-bath. Right up your street, this one, James. It's like a nice old stone building. Looks quite barny.
That looks like an annex.
Oh, wow, look at that.
Check out that extension.
Oh, wow. So where the heck is that? Where is that? That's a beautiful modern extension, which is kind of like just come out of nowhere, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
What is the finish on that? Is that timber? Is that timber clad or... That looks absolutely... If you're not looking at this property, you guys have got to log in and have a little look because it's stunning. They've got some stonework inside. Real mixed bag, actually.
I love the fact James is on his feet, literally nose against the laptop.
So we've got like some real quirky timber cladding on the inside.
There's a Tom Raphael light in there for sure.
Here he goes.
Come on,
that's your mate, isn't it, Tom? But it's beautiful. It's like a spa setting.
I also love the fact you get so into it, James, you completely forget about your microphone as well.
I am here.
He's trying to look at my numbers. That's what he's trying to do.
6 bed.
Look at
50 seconds. You've got 10 seconds left.
It's just like a spa complex. 6
For the listeners where you can't see, it looks like there's a couple of annexes here
That's
as well.
just 60 seconds up, chaps. I'm going to need a number on your card.
That is tricky. 4.6 acres.
It's a hard one as well. And I'm not entirely sure what those kind of outbuildings are on that last photo there.
Yeah, it's unfinished as well. You still got the tape on the doors and the windows.
I couldn't quite see much in the description on the listing for it, but what a property, eh?
What a property. What a little complex.
Yeah, that is special. And the land.
Yeah, 4.6. In Helston, though. What's Helston?
Looks very secluded. I'm not entirely sure.
I do. I really like how private this is. Yeah.
Big time.
It's basically
Grounds
like a bunker as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Beautiful. Right, come on, let's get our numbers on.
God, this is tricky, as you said.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
I would not know where to start on this. I generally wouldn't. Crikey. It's a big one as well. It's 2-2. Okay. We're writing on our boards. What do I pay for that?
No. Oh, God, I'm going backwards. No.
Right.
I'm going to go less.
Are you ready?
Live to regret this.
Both got a figure.
Yes.
Okay.
Go on then, James.
See what you got then in 3, 2, 1.
I've gone 2.1.
2.1, 1.5.
Oh, I don't like these because they're too close.
No.
I can let you know if you want to click on that link.
Right, okay. Scrolling down.
Has it sold?
It hasn't, no.
No.
Okay, open the link. It is on with Lily Crap. Of course it is.
Oh, he's done it
James!
again!
God.
Usain Bolt's gone past him.
1.65 mil. Trevano near Helston, Cornwall, on with Lily Crap and Chilcott. 6 bedroom. He knows the area.
Can I just say, my first, you can see the 7
you going
in
for a
there.
7,
I was
were you?
going for a 7. I just thought,
It's 4.6 acres. The acreage is what
I
did
tell
it
you
for
what,
me.
to be honest with you, I think that's a bit of a steal, isn't it?
It looks
4.6 acres,
beautiful. Let's look at the
6-bedroom
floor plan.
property.
I love
Absolutely
the floor plan.
epic.
Can I see the map?
Of the location. Let me just have a little.
Please,
let me just get my little floor plan fixed for the day.
Yeah, I couldn't quite work
So
out.
got mezzanine level. It is beautiful. Real quirky as well.
It's on the
isn't
outskirts of Helston.
Oh, now you tell us, eh? Oh, that's changed everything.
I knocked the mill off.
Right, okay. So if I zoom out, this is where we're looking. So yeah, so it is
north.
So just northwest Helston.
Yeah.
Trevano, it's up there. I don't know the area at all. What's nearby?
I'm not far from Porthleatham.
Godolphin Cross. Yeah.
Lovely area.
Very nice.
Very nice.
See, I was basing that on Helston. Helston's nice,
Yeah.
but you're not paying that premium. But that area
Well,
is very
James,
private.
taking the lead, mate. Well done.
Well done.
Well deserved. That's a 3-2 to you.
That's it.
Excellent stuff. Well, guys, thank you ever so much for listening. If you stuck around, and let us know what your valuations for this place were, because I was well out. But yeah, James, bang on, really, mate.
Thank you.
I'm sure you could get a cheeky offer in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, maybe not today. Get the car fixed first, and
that's
we'll
it.
see. I hope you enjoyed that, guys.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for Joanne and Sean for getting in touch, guys. If you want to get in touch, if you've got any questions, please do so via our social media channels, or you can get in touch via email.
You can, which is podcast@cl-property.com. We are here to help.
Brilliant. Until next time, it's goodbye from me.
Bye from me.